Uh-uh.
Okay, hello 331 Team Us. We are live with our Let's Start a Convo special edition. Let's talk lupus. We have some great lupus warriors here with us today. We have Vice President Shakia, and we have Miss Sheena Jameson. So, how are you ladies feeling today?
Hi, everybody.
Tired of feeling good. I understand totally. Y'all tired of being in the house yet?
I, yes, yes. I just miss the gym, really. I just really miss going to the gym.
I
It was
wish.
really beneficial for my lupus, so I'm missing that.
So, are you trying to work out at home to like replace being able to go to the gym?
Yeah, I work out at home as much as I can. I don't know what he's doing here.
Hi.
Hi.
What do you need? Do you need something? Doesn't want to be bothered with me any other time during the day. He's on Fortnite.
Right.
And
Right.
of course, now that I'm doing something, he wants to be in here.
He ain't the only one. Lulu's right next to me.
Hey, no offense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I still do my workouts because what I mostly do is like I weight train and do stuff like that at the gym. But my main exercises are dance classes, and they've been doing those online, so I can still do those.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Replace that. So, we are going to start with Vice President Shakia. Just a little bit about her lupus journey, and then we'll go to Miss Sheena, and then we'll just have a couple of questions for them, just trying to raise lupus awareness for Lupus Awareness Month. So I hope everybody gets educated. I hope everybody gets inspired by our live. So over to you, Shakia.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So my journey started January 2013. I started having a lot of back pain, and I started having my hands started shaking a lot, and I would wake up and my hands would just feel like a numbing, tingling sensation, and I didn't understand where the pain or those sensations in my hands were coming from. So after about 3 or 4 weeks of just being in constant pain in my back, I went to the doctor. And my doctor told me I was having back spasms and to take naproxen 2 times a day. So I was taking the naproxen 2 times a day. I was using a heating pad. I was using ice. So by March of 2013, my back pain got worse and my shaking got worse in my hands. So I went back to the doctor, and my doctor told me, oh, you're having back spasms and your back is inflamed. You need to go through physical therapy to kind of help work your muscles. So I went through physical therapy for a while, but I felt like I was getting worse instead of better. So, of course, you go back to the doctor because you're not understanding what's going on, and naproxen can only sugarcoat your pain for so long, especially if you're only taking it twice a day. So I went back to the doctor, and she said I needed to go to a pain specialist to try to figure out what was going on. So before they did any type of testing or x-ray, the doctor's like, oh, you have MS. Well, how do you know I have MS if you didn't do anything to try to figure out what's been going on with me? You're just saying this based upon the assumption of how I'm telling you I'm feeling. So I went back to my doctor. My doctor said, well, how about you try ibuprofen, because ibuprofen can help with your pain. But by this point, my pain was all over the place. It was in my legs, it was in my arms, it was in my neck. When it started raining, I felt like stiffness, sharp sensations going all throughout my body. My ankles were swelling up. So when I went back to my doctor said, well, we'll do some blood work on you, but we really don't understand what type of pain you're in. Are you sure that you're not making this pain up? So to me, I felt some type of way because I'm telling you what's going on with me, and I know my body. So why would you tell me I'm making something up? Especially just to get ibuprofen. I can get ibuprofen at the store. So it really wasn't a big deal to me to get ibuprofen, but don't try to make me sound crazy. So that led me to go to my mom's doctor, because I just felt like you weren't really going to help me. So when I went to my mom's doctor, they took some x-rays and I found that I had degenerative disc disease. So instead of me having the correct number of discs in my back, it's like your disc supposed to go boom, 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 while mine's go boom, space, boom, space, boom. So they said that could be a trigger to my back pain, but they wanted to start running blood tests. So by this point, we're at the end of 2013 going into 2014, and they ran some blood tests on me, and they said that I tested positive ANA for potentially having lupus, but my doctor couldn't diagnose me. She had to send me to a rheumatologist. Now, this is the moderated story because there was a whole bunch of other doctors in between there that I yelled at. So when I went to my rheumatologist, it took me a while to get into a rheumatologist because they are so busy. So when I went to the rheumatologist, he ran a multiple set of tests on me. I think it was about 21 tests by the time he got done with me. And that's when we figured out that I did have lupus. It was systematic, and it's in my bones and in my muscle tissue. And at the time, it was mild, and it's still fairly mild, but with it being in my bones and in my muscle tissue, I have chronic pain. And along with me having lupus, like I said, I had a degenerative disc disease, and I found out that same day I had fibromyalgia. Look, that started explaining why when it rained, I would feel stiff, I would feel sore. If it was cold outside, I wouldn't be able to move. So there's plenty of times where I'm just laying in my bed and I literally feel like it's going to take me 2 or 3 hours to get up and start functioning because my body hurts so much. So I was diagnosed with the lupus May 2014, and I kind of went through a depression spell because it felt like, why me? Like at the time when I was diagnosed, I was 26. I started feeling pain at 25. I didn't understand it. And for me to be so young and feel healthy, it just felt like my world was shattering. And at the time I was diagnosed, I was told I wouldn't be able to work full time. I wouldn't be able to travel. I had to stay within Ohio. They told me if I go outside, not to be exposed to sun because my skin can be affected, which I really didn't listen one time. I was outside in 100-degree weather and I got extremely, extremely sick. So I learned my lesson. And I still have the rashes to prove it, but I basically put on all these limitations, and in the process of me trying to figure out what was wrong with me, I actually developed irritable bowel because I was taking ibuprofen and naproxen for a year and a half to help me with the pain. So, along with me having my illness with the lupus, the fibromyalgia, I had stomach issues, and I was put on a restrictive diet because everything made me sick that I ate. So at the time I was diagnosed, I was 98 pounds because I wasn't able to eat anything or hold anything down because that's how sensitive my stomach was.
Now, was that because of stress, or is that because of the actual lupus diagnosis?
So that was because I was taking all the ibuprofen and naproxen.
Okay, got you.
So I found out why I was shaking so much is because I actually developed tremors with me having my lupus. So if anybody that sees me, they'll notice like my hands shake a lot and it shakes uncontrollably. So I was actually put on medicine for that. I had to go see a neurologist. But I found the medicine that they put you on for tremors makes you shake 10 times more. So what I had to learn was I have to drink turmeric tea because it calms me instead of taking that medicine that they actually prescribed in. It's been helping with my nerves a lot since then. But my journey has been a lot of pain. If it goes from being 60 degrees to 30 degrees, I'm sick. I don't feel well. I'm extremely stiff. I have sharp shooting burning sensations in my back. I've developed sciatic issues due to the lupus. If it, like I said, if it's raining outside, that's a pretty tough time for me. I developed pleurisy, which means I have inflammation in the lining of my lungs due to the lupus, and that acts up a lot when it rains as well. So I've been blessed because I don't have any major organ damage, or my lupus isn't in my organs, but it is in my bones, so that's a lot of pain 24/7. I've been to 3 different therapists who try to help me with my pain. That hasn't helped. I've had 7 different back infusions to try to help me with the pain. And it's a temporary band-aid, I feel like. So now I'm trying to just work out more at home, and I have a problem with sitting down. That's the biggest struggle of my journey is just sitting down because I'm always going to be in the move. So I get frustrated a lot because I get tired quick. A lot of people don't understand that you may be able to take a shower, be dressed and ready in an hour. It can take me up to 3 hours sometimes. So I have to wake up 3 times earlier than what I should, just because it takes a while for my body to get going. But honestly, I think with my journey, my lupus has been sort of a blessing to me because it led me to my purpose and it led me to help others and allow others to see that just because a doctor tells you that you can't do something, you can still beat the odds and do it as long as you have the faith and you believe in Jesus. So that's my quick little 5-minute Snapchat of my story.
Thank you, Kia. Now, Miss Sheena, it's your turn.
Okay. Hello. So I was diagnosed in 2001, actually May 21st. So I'm coming up on 19 years. I know it's such a blessing because definitely thought I was going to be out of here a couple of times. So when they first diagnosed me, I had like severe flu symptoms. It was really, really bad flu symptoms. I was having fever, seizures. My temperature did not go under 100 for 2 weeks straight. It kept going all the way up to like 107 and just staying at like mid 104. And they just kept going. I went to every hospital in the city that kept on just sending me home. Like, can you close that one? They just kept sending me home. Like, I think she has the flu. Just let her rest and get better and blah, 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 all this stuff. And so at that time, I'm 15. So Children's Hospital was the first one I went to, and they were the last one I went to. I went to them again at the end of the 2 weeks, and one of the doctors, he just so happened to be on call that night, and he was like, you know what, I think I want to send you to a specialist. So I was very lucky because as soon as I got out that night, I think I saw that doctor the next day, the specialist. He ran all the tests and he was able to figure out that I had lupus. So it really was a short span compared to a lot of people. It takes years and, going through a whole bunch of different stuff to figure it out. So although I do think when I was younger, I went through a lot of stuff as a kid. I was always homesick and everybody just thought I was just faking and stuff. But I think I've had it for a lot longer and they just never knew. So that started. I was 15. I missed like a month or 2 of school, but I was still able to do stuff. I was still able to be on drill team. I was still be able to do all that, whatever. But once I got to college, which was 2004, it was my second year at University of Akron. Just one night, I just started feeling all these pains in my back, my lower back and stuff. And in between that time, I was having really bad stomach pain. So I was in and out the hospital, in and out of Children's all the time with an undiagnosed pain in my stomach. They always were just sending me home like, we don't know what's going on with you. But in college, I had to leave college one night. I just had to come home and go straight to the doctors, and they were like, you are in stage 4 kidney failure. Your kidneys your lupus nephritis. You have lupus nephritis. They had to do all these tests and biopsies to figure out what was going on with my kidneys. They nursed them back to health, but at that time they were like, you will never have kids. You should never even try to have kids. You will probably die. And hopefully we can help you live for at least 5 years. So that was in 2004. So praise God. That was just the first of many times that they thought they were going to lose me. Um, I have been through the ringer. Like you said, there's just way too much to talk about that I couldn't. You guys would be here all night if I told you every single time I was in the hospital or every single time I was sick. So it has affected. I've had the pleurisy. I've had a collapsed lung because I had so much fluid in my lungs, and I've taken prednisone since I was diagnosed. So that was like 17 years. I am coming up on like 6 months. I took myself off of it, and I've been feeling amazing. But because of taking it for so long, right? I'm so glad. Because I took it for so long, it decayed my bones really, really bad. So I've had 2 hip replacements. Had 2 hip replacements. Both my hips are replaced. Saniqua, you know the trials and tribulations I went through with that, with my hips and everything. The first one that got replaced, as 2 weeks after it was healed, it dislocated. Then the second one, when it got replaced, it was like 2 months afterwards, it got infected. They had to open it back up, rinse it out, and then 2 months after that, it got infected again. They had to completely take the whole hip out, wait a whole year. It was like 2 years, and then put it back in. It was just terrible, and I almost died then. And that was just not too long ago, maybe in 2018 or 2017. But if you saw my son come in, thank God you saw my son come in. He is 7, so I had 2 miscarriages before him, and the first miscarriage almost died. And so they were like, "See, we told you you can't have kids. This, you're going to kill yourself if you even try to have another kid or whatever." And I was like, my lupus was at such a high active stage that I was like, I know that was the reason why. It was just, it didn't know what to do with itself. Like, hold on, there's something in her. Let's kill it. So I had 2 miscarriages. Then when I got pregnant with him, I just knew he was going to be okay. Like I was feeling better. My lupus was remission, and I just knew he was going to be okay. So glory be to God. I have my knucklehead.
Now,
So
Sheena, I don't know if you remember. I think it was the first miscarriage you had. We ran into each other outside of OSU.
outside of OSU on campus.
Yes, I think it was right after the first one, and you had told me, and we cried together.
Probably. Yeah, I don't remember, but I'm sure.
Yeah, that hurt my heart that day. I can say that. No,
Yeah.
I ain't mean to interrupt you, but I just thought about it. The
Oh
memory
no,
popped back
it's
up.
completely fine. It's completely fine. That one was a tough one because I was halfway through, and it wasn't like just like a week or two into it. I was showing and everything.
Right.
But other than that, I've been like almost died a couple times because of how sick I've been. Have this, is it on this side? I think it's on, I don't know what side it's on, but they've had to go through my neck to go straight to my heart, get a central line just so that they can keep me alive. 3 times I've had that done. When I go into the hospital and they're like, she's coding, we have to do this right now. So I'm just so blessed right now to say that I am in remission, and so blessed to say that. It's just so amazing. And people don't understand it, like how you got excited for me, and they're like, okay, you're in remission.
No, that's like a big deal.
It's such a big deal. It's such a big deal. So I'm really blessed. Yes, this rain, sometimes this rain makes me ache and stuff. And lately my hands have been horrible. I don't understand the pain that's in my hands. And I'm like, please don't let my lupus be flaring up, or please don't let me have to go back on my steroids or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it could be my fibromyalgia, because I have fibromyalgia as well. But I'm just like, do I want to deal with this or do I want to call my doctors, because I don't want to have to go back on another medication. I've been weaning myself off of all my medications to try to just go with turmeric and ginger and stuff to just try the healthy route. Let's see what that does, because working out and eating better, I have been feeling amazing and I'm in remission, and I'm just like, if that's not enough, I don't know what else is. I don't want to go back on any other medications.
I understand you there.
And lavender chamomile is great for hand pain too.
What is it?
Lavender chamomile, because it starts to soothe and calm your body, so that's really good too. Besides the turmeric and the ginger.
Good to know. Good to know.
Now, with the pandemic, so I know, well, both of y'all know my little struggles that I be having, but I know the pandemic has caused my body to be out of whack totally. I don't know if it's the underlining stress of it, of not really knowing what's going on and not feeling like I got control over what's going on, or if it's the fact of, our immune systems are compromised. So walking out the house is kind of like life or death at this moment. So how have you guys been dealing with the stress of the pandemic?
So for me, I've been listening to Sarah Jake's podcast a lot. I listen to that daily. I keep being in my word, reading my scriptures. And then this has given me a chance to focus on my self-care, because I'm working 40, 50 hours a week sometimes. I'm going to doctors 2-3 times a week. So it's allowed me to take a step back to give my body the rest that it needs. So I've been doing a lot of different like stress lotions, calming lotions for Bath and Body Works, the candles. I started reading. I started journaling. Just trying to channel energy into different places. But because I'm not able to go to doctors as I normally would, I know this is causing me to flare more, because usually I would go see my doctor at least once a month, and if I was in some type of pain, I would get either a steroid shot or they'll give me the temporary prednisone taper to take, and it's like now I'm just winging it on my own. Like, yeah, they can call in a prescription for me, but I would rather see a doctor first physically before they just prescribe me something. And I think too, it's causing more stress on my body because I'm also not as active as I was
Right.
before the pandemic. So, I would go to work, I would walk, and we would have our event. So I had times where I was allowing my body to move, but now I'm like rest mode, which rest mode is kind of not always good for me because my body gets stiff and it hurts more. But if it wasn't for this pandemic, I wouldn't have learned that because I was always on go. And I've been drinking a lot of tea to help my body as well, and to help kind of get this anxiety out the way, because my anxiety is triggering again with us with reopening, because it's like, do I go outside? Do I not go outside?
Right.
Can I go see my friends and family? Can I not see my friends and family? Because I don't want to get this virus and have lupus at the same time. Like, it's already hard to have lupus and to have COVID at the same time. That's just not going to happen for me.
So,
right. With me, I have been on complete lockdown. Like, if we go out, we go for a walk or whatever, and we come right back in the house.
yeah.
Even my brother, he's came over and he just stands at the door to grab something from the house. Like, we're just not letting people in and out of the house because of just the fear of it coming into this house and it coming, me getting it or whatever. And I did have a scare for a second when I felt like my left lung collapsed and I couldn't breathe. So I did have to go to the hospital. They did treat it as COVID. They did test me for COVID. And then they sent me home to isolate for 2 weeks. And they were like, until we get your results, you need to isolate for 2 weeks, make sure that you're okay or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then come to find out, they never even ran my test.
Wow.
But whether they even just left it in the room or the lady threw it away or something. They never even my test. So I just isolated for 14 days in my room. We were very careful and stuff during that time. But
Are you feeling better now?
oh yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah, I felt much better. I was doing the blow dryer in my face and taking a lot of immune boosting vitamins and stuff like that. So I feel a lot better now. I'm one of those people who is like, I'm not going outside. I'm not going to risk it.
Right.
I love my family and everything like that. I can Zoom call you, video chat you, or whatever. We're going to ride this out to make sure everybody is getting better, and then we will proceed with caution. So it is very stressful. It is very stressful. And like you said, Shakia, I know personally that my body, when I just lay around, it hurts worse. Because I've been there so many times before during depression or just trying to heal or anything, where I felt like, oh, I can't go outside. I can't go running and walking because it's going to make my body hurt. But then sitting in the house makes your body hurt even worse because you're just sitting there or just laying there. So every morning when I wake up, my sister, she's like, Sheena, I need for you to get up out that bed and come downstairs before 12. And I'm like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. For one, I don't sleep. I cannot sleep, so I'm up until 4, 5, 6 in the morning. And then once the morning comes, I'm finally falling asleep. So I'm going to get my little bit of sleep. So it'd be like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and I'm finally coming downstairs. But, so yeah, I've been doing that. And like you said, I've been journaling. I've been journaling as well. Praying so much more. Just seeking a different place of guidance, like just trying to find something else that's going to get me through, because I feel like the whole world needs it. I feel like everyone needs to find God and everything. And unlike you, Shakia, I don't work. I've never been able to hold a job. So they deemed me disabled, completely disabled, when I was 18, something like that. So I really, really would love to work, but anytime I try to hold a job, it's like it just doesn't work. It doesn't for me. So it's like, okay, I might as well just stick to doing what I do best, which is baking. So I have my little baking shenanigans, and I do that. And I can only, everybody be like, can you do it once a week? And I'm like, I can't do it once a week because it hurts too bad.
Yeah, I will be placing an order soon. I just had to put that in there.
I like cakes and stuff.
Just had to put that in there.
Please place your orders. But yeah, so I make sure like I'll do it once. So this last time it was it was 1 week, then I rested, and then the next week. But then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to do this once a month because it hurts.
That takes a lot out of your body.
It hurts. My hands and my feet, and I'm just like crawling up the stairs to get to bed. Like it was just bad. But I still love it. It gives me that energy. It's something that you love to do, and it's just something that it's like, Lupus, you're not going to take this away from me, too.
Right. Now, if there was something that you could tell, if you could tell yourself when you first got diagnosed after what you know now, what would it be? With everything that you know about lupus, everything that you've been through, what would you tell your younger self from when you first was diagnosed?
It's going to be okay. It's going to be hard, but God didn't give you this because you were weak. He gave you this because you were strong. Literally, when I was in 2001, the information out then was terrible. So it was so scary for me because like it was almost like reading, you have 5 to 10 years to live. And at 15 years old, you're like, I have 5 to 10, like,
right.
So just knowing I'm about to be 35. Come on, Jesus.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. We're going to keep it going.
I would say you are not alone in faith over fear, because a lot of times you're getting diagnosed with something that people already say, oh, she's not sick, she's making it up, oh, she's being dramatic, just because they don't see how you're feeling, or they say, oh, here she goes complaining again. So you start to isolate yourself because you feel like no one understands what you're going through. But there's millions of people who have chronic illnesses, invisible illnesses, but you don't know that at that time because you just feel like it's just you. And then you have to really start building up your support system. So I would say you are not alone. It just takes a while to figure out who your support system is. And I say faith over fear, because when you get that diagnosis, and like she said, you're getting told 5 to 10 years. I was 25 when they told me I had lupus, and it was like 5 years, I'm going to be 30. 10 years, I'm going to be 35. What do you mean? So I wish they would stop saying that, honestly, because that's what gives you that fear. But once you build your relationship with God, once you start trusting in God, once you start allowing God to give you your direction as far as how you view lupus and what you're going through, it always gets better.
Yes, yes. Well, I want to say thank you, ladies, so much. Like, you guys have no idea how many people y'all probably just blessed. Because there's a lot of people that don't know about lupus. I'm one of them, and I listen. My vice president